Good afternoon, and today we're going to be talking about how NFPA 1600 is shaping emergency management. NFPA 1600 is created by the National Fire Protection Association, which has code standards, recommended practices, and guidelines which provide a developed disaster management process approved by FEMA, the International Association of Emergency Managers, the National Emergency Managers Association, and the American National Standards Institute. Although the standard comes from fire protection associations, it does not mean that it is a fire-based standard. A little bit of overview on what the NFPA 1600 covers. The scope for the NFPA 1600 standard establishes set criteria for disaster management, emergency management, and business continuity. It also provides information that can improve and make more effective emergency management operations and business continuity. And this standard impacts both public and private sector officials. It's a universal standard which focuses on standard of continuity, emergency and crisis management, providing documentation relating to preparedness for response to and recovery from man-made, natural, or technological events. The latest version highlights the importance of maintaining crisis communication capabilities, including the adoption of reliable emergency communication systems. Clear communication, as we've learned in the past, is a big factor when it comes to reducing the milling time. And companies need to be able to provide information to all stakeholders in a timely fashion when disaster strikes. Using this framework for emergency managers provides a flexible and adaptable framework that basically it covers leadership commitments, laws, authority, finance, administration responsibilities, private sector continuity, and coordination, and other topics. These topics broach the 4 phases of emergency management, like we talked about: planning, response, recovery, and mitigation processes. So who's using the emergency management plan? The creation of a complex emergency management plan can be difficult, and applying it consistently across the board is no small task. Companies, in order to maintain coordination of efforts and optimal continuity, companies should, from all industries, use and endorse the NFPA standard 1600. Following NFPA 1600 will help organizations improve employee safety, reduce risk, protect property, and meet the responsibility of actions when faced with any number of hazards. So we look at who's using NFPA 1600 as emergency managers right now. Organizations, before we talk about who's using NFPA 1600, let's take a look at, it's not required legally to follow NFPA 1600. It is being used to guide programs, development and implementation, fitting each organization's unique needs. And in order to ensure, when we talk about who's using it, comprehensive emergency management plan is just a part of the Florida State University Emergency Co-op. But we look at Florida State's continuity of operations, or their co-op, which aids in planning, business continuity, improving disaster preparedness and response at the university's level. They follow the Florida State statutes along with FEMA and other management officials. But the NFPA 1600 can be loosely seen in the topics broached by the co-op. Other than universities, you can see fire departments, police, first responders across the nation that follow NFPA 1600, the National Incident Management System, and Incident Command System as a whole. for response improvement and improving continuity. So regardless of size of all companies, we have the potential for facing a disaster event. By following expert guidelines created and set by the NFPA, companies can better increase their outcome potential by creating an emergency management plan.